In times of crisis,
It's been a nightmare.
what you need is accurate,
COVID-19
up-to-date, and in-depth information.
This virus will be with us for a long time.
And in this most
ตอนนี้ภาพ
challenging
ก็ไม่เห็
time,
นนะคะ
when the
Half of
whole
air ก็ไม่
world
เห็น
is
นะ
being ravaged by the most frightening pandemic, there is no easier way to stay informed than to stay home.
Hello everyone.
Welcome to Thai PBS World Tonight
And stay with us. Thai PBS World. We bring Thailand to the world.
สวัสดีค่ะ Very good Friday evening and welcome to our 7 o'clock news program Thai PBS World Tonight. You are now with me, Natha Gomonwat, in live from Thai PBS studio in Bangkok. คุณเทพชัยยอง is now joining me online from home. สวัสดีค่ะ Good evening คุณเทพชัย
Sawasdee and good evening, Kunatha and everyone. Okay, another day of good news, Kunatha, with only one new infection and no death. And this should give the Prime Minister, Kun Prayut Chan-o-cha, more confidence when he conducts a meeting with members of the committee dealing with the coronavirus problem tomorrow to discuss the second round of easing of the shutdown restrictions.
That's right. And it's still speculation of the details of easing restriction and probably we will have clear detail and final decision tomorrow, Kun Thepchai, because COVID-19 situation administration plan to have a major meeting tomorrow. It means
That's
we
right.
will...
But
Yes. It means that probably we will know the details, what are the business group activities that will be allowed to be reopened and what will be the measures to be coming with reopening of new business activities.
yeah, but the new case today is interesting. It's a reminder that we are still not out of the woods yet, that we are not totally safe from the pandemic. The new case is a 39 years old native of Chiang Mai. He had worked in Phuket for a long time. And he left the island on May the 2nd with his wife and their child and returned to Chiang Mai, right? But show no symptom. But his infection was discovered by village health volunteers doing the so-called active test finding, according to the spokesman of the Center for COVID-19 Situation Administration. So this is a very strong reminder that a lot of people who have left Phuket over the past 1 week are still a cause of concern. So that's why the message from the spokesman, Dr. Viswanuthin Yotin today is that everyone who has left Phuket in recent weeks should go for a medical checkup, despite the fact that some of them may not have any symptoms at all. Because what happened today with this one new case is a reminder that things are still need to carefully monitor.
Of course, at this point, the Thai authority, public health officials, would have liked Thai people to remain cautious, even though the case of new infection today is only one and no new death. And it's very good sign because we are on the trend of steady decline of the new infection. But with the new case of Phuket, it means that the overall situation, we all still have to remain quite cautious because the Thai authority may not want to have new cluster of infection again, Kun Thepchai.
The reason is that Phuket still remains a hotspot of coronavirus infection. And after Bangkok, Phuket still has one of the highest number of infection cases. And as we have seen, thousands of people who were stranded on the island because of shutdown over the past months have left the island, go back to their home provinces, and this certainly has caused a lot of concern among medical authorities.
And today, during the daily news briefing, it's quite interesting because Dr. Tavisin also said that the case of lung infection among Thai people this year have been reduced. Kuntepchai, that's because of people wearing masks when going outside and eat cooked food. That's why the number of lung infection cases in Thailand have been reduced. That's quite interesting. New fact from Center of COVID-19.
Yeah, that's should be all the more reason why people should keep wearing masks from day on.
Yeah.
No, but our eyes will be on tomorrow's meeting of the Center for COVID-19 Situation Administration, chaired by the Prime Minister, during which a number of proposals to ease the restrictions will be discussed and agreed upon. So a lot of expectations are around that tomorrow will be very, very crucial in deciding which businesses will be allowed to reopen and which businesses which have already been allowed to reopen will see more easing of the restriction. So let's take a look at what we can expect from tomorrow's meeting.
Yes. Now let's take a look at curfew hours that probably will be extended in terms of easing restriction. So
this is what we expect to see from tomorrow's meeting.
Yeah. So instead from 10 to 4 a.m. in the morning, it will have to be changed from 11 p.m. until 4 p.m. So it means that one more hour of business activities, nightlife activity, to be 11 o'clock.
Okay. So let us make some correction. The graphic may be a little bit wrong because the current curfew hours are 10 p.m. to 4 a.m. the next day, right? So the proposal is for the curfew hours to be shortened to 11 p.m. to 4 a.m. the next day.
Yes.
So 1 hour shorter than what they are today. So this is something that a lot of businesses have been crying for because this would give customers and workers and employees of business more time to go home after finishing their businesses or finishing their dinner.
Yeah. Also, another move today, Kuntepchai, is the royal decree which has announced Prime Minister has appointed a committee who will consider easing of restriction measures, and we have seen the name and the position of people who are in the committee. Let's take a look who will be member of the committee. Secretary General of National Security Council, General Somsak Rungsita as committee chairman, and Deputy Army Commander-in-Chief, General Natapon Nak Panit as vice committee chairman. Committee members include officials from public health, medical, legal and communication agencies, as well as economists.
So it's quite clear that the Prime Minister wants all decisions about easing the restriction to be well thought out and taking into consideration all suggestions and feedbacks from various sectors of the society. That's why the members of this committee are quite diverse, not only government officials, but also economists and representatives from private sector.
Yes, and the scope of responsibility of the committee, they will propose guidelines for easing of shutdown measures on fortnightly basis to the Prime Minister. Also, they will draft regulations for easing shutdown measures, and they will coordinate with the government and private agencies and others for necessary information and suggestions. So these are the scope of responsibility of committee who will consider relaxing measure of the lockdown.
So that means that every 14 days, the committee will come up with an evaluation of the easing of the restrictions, and then come forward with a new suggestion as to what else needs to be done to slowly, gradually ease the shutdown restrictions. So the committee will be having quite a tough task in deciding what kind of measures that to be taken to satisfy increasing demands from various sectors of society. We certainly want to see the country return to normal as soon as possible.
Another development today, Kun Thepchai, you must have heard of the application Medical Doctor Victory, but now it has changed to Thailand Victory. It's another application that will go with the easing of restriction. Probably they will have launched it formally quite soon, because for easing restriction in the second phase, this is another application that the Thai authority would like to have tracing, having contact tracing, and help people and help business operators to have QR code, and the customer can register and scan the QR code from the application in order to avoid packed customer or long queue from business operations. So that's the way to follow social distancing and avoid getting infection from COVID-19.
Yeah, that means that you don't be caught by surprise if the next time you visit your favorite barber or food shops and you are asked to use your mobile phone to scan the QR code at the entrance of the premises before you enter and after you're done with services, because this application is designed to help alert people in case of their infection. For example, when that the customer is later found to be infected, then they just will be sent out to you and other customers have been to the same establishment to tell you that you need to have medical checks up to find out whether you are infected. So this is quite way of that the new infection for business establishment. And of course, application is also useful for customers like yourself. I mean, to help the places you visit, whether you find the places to complying strictly with social distancing guidelines or not. And as Kunata mentioned, also help you make a reservation in advance to go there, so that you don't need to wait for your turn.
Yes. And during this crisis of COVID-19, Kun Thepchai, probably the durian farmers or owner of durian farm in Thailand can be quite happy, in which right now the demand is quite high from Chinese customer toward Thai durian. It remains strong as ever, and it must be quite unexpected, because before COVID-19 it was expected that the demand for Thai durian probably could have been affected a lot. But it turned out that the early lifting of lockdown in China has good impact, had good effect on Thai durian, Kun Thepchai.
Yeah, if we remember well, when China was shut down in the aftermath of the pandemic 2 months back, people started saying, well, this is the end of the durian export to China, right? Because the Chinese people would not be thinking about durians anymore, because they were more worried about their survival. No, but it seems that the Chinese appetite for Thai durians has bounced back very, very quickly. And it looks like there will be a strong rebound of durian export to China in the next few months. As far as we have learned, I mean, there have been already demand orders for export of Thai durians to mainland China, to many cities. And even before the pandemic in China has been put under control, for a while there were some Chinese middlemen as we all know, I mean, the Chinese people have a vast network of middlemen dealing with durian in Thailand. So before Thailand was locked down, these people were here in Thailand and placed advance orders for Thai durians. So now they have the durian exporters have their durian orders in their hands and are more than ready to ship them to the Chinese, the Chinese customers who are eagerly waiting for their favorite so-called king of fruit.
So that at least good news for durian farmers and durian farms in Thailand, that they don't have to worry with whether the demand for durian will be lower or not. This year is quite clear. The price is remain as high as before.
Yeah, and this certainly comes as a big disappointment to Thai durian eaters who had expected to see the prices of durian drop, because according to our most recent survey, the retail price of durian still stands as much as 150 to 170 baht per kilogram. So that's still very high. So don't count on the pandemic to help bring down the durian prices.
Yes. And Kun Thepchai, we talk a lot about crisis from COVID-19, but at the same time, we have to predict and try to get preparation for the future. And one aspect is about education. What should education look like in the future after COVID-19? Right now, we have Mr. Cameron Fox, founding head of VERSO International School in Thailand, joining us live. Good evening, Mr. Fox.
Good evening. Sawadee krap. Very nice to
Sawadee
meet you.
krap.
Thank you for inviting me on.
Yeah. So right now, the school is closed. So how's your day? Mostly have been busy preparing for the next semester?
Our school's not actually opened yet. So we're really, we're in a very strange situation where we're preparing to open our new school in August, but with the very real sort of possibility that we won't actually be able to open. So yeah, it's very busy. We're preparing everything for the kids to come in, but at the moment, everything's still a little bit uncertain.
Mm.
Mr. Fox, are you still with us?
Yes, I am. I'm still here.
Okay. Okay.
Sorry, because I cannot hear you quite clearly.
Yeah.
We have some issue
Right.
with the voice.
Yeah. Okay. No, but from the point of view of an educator, how do you see this pandemic? I mean, it has certainly given rise to talk of something we call new normal. So, what kind of new normal do you foresee for education?
I think the pandemic's really brought attention to the fact that our systems, our educational system is quite fragile. I think UNESCO published at the beginning of March figures like, I think it was 290 million children were out of school because of COVID. So I really think it's caused a massive disruption. And through that disruption, I think we're seeing schools around the world really struggling to try and adapt as quickly as they can. Some are doing okay. There's been a lot of innovative ideas coming out during this time, and some are struggling. And I think it's a case of a lot of mixed results. But I think the bottom line is that our schools are not designed to be adaptive. I think the lessons that we can really take from this is that we really need to design schools and educational systems to become much more responsive and able to adapt much quicker to sudden changes like this, because we know that the world that we're moving into is already highly disrupted, and this type of event may happen again.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And right now, what's the design thinking for teachers as well as students? Because you have to design the school or the facility to have social distancing, but at the same time, what's the maximum use of technology?
Okay, so yeah, the school itself, we're under regulations, the precautions that we're all having to take about, you know, temperature taking and hand sanitizing, physical distancing, the wearing of masks. These things are all sort of standard now, and all schools, like other organizations, are having to adapt to that. When it comes to physical space, I think what some schools may struggle with is the sizes of the learning spaces that they work in. So if you can imagine a very old school with very traditional buildings, the ability to create additional space is quite hard. So when we were looking at VERSO in terms of its design, we really wanted to maximize the amount of flexible space that we have. And that's actually working in our favor now as we look at the physical distancing requirements that are coming in. So still lots of space for kids to be in, but of course it changes the way that we have to think about the way that we teach.
Mm-hmm. I know it's certainly easier for VERSO as a school to come up with this kind of a design education, right? But if you talk about education in a larger context, say for example, like the Thai system of education, if we want to take this pandemic as an opportunity to really, have a rethink of the system, where do you think we should start?
I think it goes back to that ability to be adaptive. If I'm looking to the future, I think what COVID is doing is really highlighting the fact that our school systems are struggling to be adaptive. And I think maybe as a result of what COVID is doing, schools will start to think about designing themselves to be a little bit more agile, a little bit more responsive. So I think probably looking into the future, that might come into the way that people think about how our schools operate. You know, we're working in a remote setting now. I think a lot of kids are having to adapt very quickly to the fact that they have to switch on in the morning to be in school. The way that schools operate, that varies. Some kids are doing an awful lot of screen time, and other schools have maybe got that a little bit better in terms of the balance. But the pressure on families to kind of deal with all of this has been sudden. So parents are scrambling. They're trying to figure out how to be a teacher, how to be a mom, how to work from home, how to manage the house. You know, there's a lot going on. And I think from the work that we've done with the families that we've spoken to, we're really trying to understand some of those pain points so that when we open and if we have to go to a remote model, the way that we design our program will be done so that we can assist families through this. This is a really tough time for everyone, especially students. Their whole world has been disrupted. Their friendships have kind of they've lost contact with everybody that they deal with on a daily basis, and there's no real end in sight. You know, it's still very unpredictable. So we have to do a lot of, I think, support, make sure kids feel that this is okay, that we'll manage and we'll get through. But schools have got to be able to act differently. They've got to be able to be responsive to this. And sometimes that's very, very hard for schools because we're not designed to be adaptive.
Yeah.
And what about the classroom itself, Mr. Fogg? The number of students in the class, does it have to be reduced? And what about the role of the teacher?
Yeah, well, in fact, for us, the way that we've designed our buildings is very different. We've got lots of flexible, open learning space. So actually, we can manage numbers of students and maintain a physical distance quite easily. And in terms of our teachers, we don't teach with a model of one classroom and one teacher. We have cohorts. So our kids are used to working in a variety of groupings during the day, and our teachers work in teams. So we've got a very flexible way of teaching and learning within our school, which allows us to modify the way that we group kids, the way that as learning designers. We've got a big advantage, I must say. We're not very worried about that. We've actually, in a way, predicted the disruption to traditional schooling through the way that we've designed our building. So I'm very confident that the way that VERSO is looking at it, we can cope and manage quite easily.
I know that VERSO has yet to open for classes, right? But you have a very interesting slogan, igniting passion, inspiring creativity. But what would the typical days of students at the school will be like? How different will it be from normal schools?
Yes, well, there's a lot more flexibility. The way that we've looked at the way that we use time, the way that we organize kids, the way that we have developed a curriculum model here, which is very much focused on personalized approach to learning. We do a lot of work with projects. So the way that we structure time is a lot different from perhaps regular school. And kids have got a much bigger amount of variety in what they're going to do during the day. So, you know, it's a step away from, I guess, the model. And when we think of school, and, you know, the experiences that we all had, VERSO is offering something which is quite different. We were inspired a lot by the work that we did with IDEO, the world famous design firm. They helped us create the DNA for the school. So we're really influenced by the design world. So our kids work a lot in studios, they work in maker spaces, they work in project spaces. It's very, very creative. And the idea of creating a school around student passion is something that many, many teachers dream of, but we are often restricted to it because of the curriculum models that we have to follow. VERSO has really adapted that, and we've put passion and the kids' interests right at the heart of the way that we design our programs.
No Thai schools have the reputation of loading the students with homework. So will there be a lot of homework at VERSO?
Believe me, it's not only Thai schools. There is there's a homework problem around the world, and many parents and educators constantly scratch their heads, asking themselves why. Why do we do this? Homework is VERSO. I can quite honestly say, we are not a school that will be, how should we say, providing kids with lots and lots of homework. Now, the difference that I think you should make is that if kids are inspired by the work that they're doing in school and they want to do some of that work at home, I think there's a difference. And I would love to think that the work that they will be doing with the learning designers that they mix with every day will provide them with something that is stimulating enough that they want to carry that work home. So yeah, the old idea of traditional homework won't be a reality in VERSO.
Mr. Fox, in the education in Thailand, Ministry of Education probably thinking about digital transformation. But in Thailand, we have been told that we have to be careful in terms of the computer facility, online equipment, in which Thai kids may not have enough, and that will result in social inequality even more after pandemic. What's your vision, or what do you like to tell the education system in Thailand?
It's very interesting, very, very interesting. The way that the switch to digital platforms for schooling really raises questions of equity, because a lot of kids may not have the resources that they need to connect. So that is a reality. And again, not just in Thailand, I think that's globally. The issue of equity when it comes to digitalization is a hot topic in schools. At VERSO, we've got very, very good technology within the school, but we look at technology as, you know, it's the tool. It's ubiquitous, it's everywhere, but it's not the focus. It's there to help us with our learning. It's there to help kids develop the skills that they're going to need. But we often talk about high tech, and really what VERSO preaches more is low tech and high touch. And we're really more interested in that human side of what school is, that creative piece that you don't need technology for. So even if we move to a remote model, if we can't start school in the physical way, I think what parents will find with the way that VERSO's designing our online program or our remote program is that there's still going to be a lot of hands-on stuff for kids to do, a real focus on creativity, and that doesn't necessarily equate to hours in front of a screen. So that screen time is definitely something that we know is an issue for some parents and for kids, and also the equity problem is something that we're very conscious of.
When the school opens, what kind of message about the coronavirus, the COVID-19, you think you would want to convey to the students?
First and foremost, I think you want to make sure that kids feel safe. So I'm sure they will understand the context in which school is opening, that we're still in a very strange time. So I think kids will need to feel that coming to school is okay. So I think the messaging from school to kids has to be positive, has to be honest. I don't think you should cocoon kids. They have to understand what it is we're doing and why. And kids are very perceptive. They understand, and they know when we're being authentic. I think obviously we need to make sure that kids understand the routines, the protocols that we have in place to make sure that they're healthy. And I think there's also a lot of support going to be needed. I think kids need to be able to talk about what's happening, why it's changed. And for them stepping into a new school, there's lots of new things. Anyway, this will be part of that onboarding for this year. But the kids are resilient, and kids are very adept at accommodating changes in their lives. And I think if educators are open and honest and speak to them truthfully, kids will understand, and they know that they're being looked after and cared for, and that's the most important thing.
Yeah, and of course, don't forget the act of giving, act of caring. That is something that the student should be taught about.
Very, very important. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, it's quite encouraging to hear your view that young kids are very resilient, so they must be ready to cope with new change after COVID-19.
Well, they're more resilient than us, believe me.
Okay, thank you very much, Cameron.
Yeah.
Okay,
It's lovely to talk to you. Thank you so much for speaking with me this evening.
Yeah, thank you.
Right.
Stay safe and
Thank
stay
you.
well.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. And Kun Thepchai, when we talk about new cluster of infection, it's the situation that probably authority around the world must be quite wary of. And right now in China, in Wuhan especially, they plan to test local population there for more than 10 million to fight with new cluster of infection. Let's take a look at this report.
The Chinese city of Wuhan, original epicenter of coronavirus pandemic, plans to conduct tests on its entire population of 11 million people after new cases emerged for the first time in weeks. Officials have been ordered to submit plans to administer tests on all residents in the city of 11 million people, according to an official notice.
知道的，我觉得这个很正常啊，因为基数太大了。这个我觉得。
A Wuhan resident said, "This is good to screen out. I heard the other day that new virus cases were found in the East-West Lake District. These testing the entire population will make me more reassured." Another said, I think it's good to have everyone taste it, so they won't be concerned afterward. And it will be clear if anyone is infected or not.
So local population in Wuhan has to be ready for the new round of testing. On the other hand, Kun Thepchai, right now in Japan, they plan to lift state of emergency because of the decline of new cases. And right now we have Kun Nat Bunnak joining us with this story.
Hello.
Hello, Kun Nat. So what's the plan in Japan to lift state of emergency?
So an update for all of you guys. So the Japanese government has decided to lift the state of emergency in 39 prefectures around Japan. So Japan has a total of 47 prefectures. So today the government has decided to lift the state of emergency in 39 prefectures. So the reason is not only because of the number of new infections that are declining in those prefectures, but Prime Minister Shinzo Abe has to cope with a lot of pressure to achieve their goals, which is to prevent the resurgence of the virus, as well as to revive the economy at the same time. So that is why they decided to lift the state of emergency earlier than expected, because initially the state of emergency will expire at the end of this month. So right now, the decision to lift the state of emergency and the restrictions here is actually going to help improve the economy during this time.
So it means that lifting of state of emergency will not cover the whole country. What about remaining 8 prefectures in Japan?
Yeah, so the 8 remaining prefectures will remain under the state of emergency. So this is because these of the prefectures still experience the number of infections every day. So the prefectures are Tokyo, Chiba, Hokkaido, Kanagawa, Saitama, Kyoto, Osaka, and Hyogo. So the government, although they still decided to remain the state of emergency in those prefectures, but they will reconsider whether they will lift the state of emergencies next Thursday. In the meantime, there will be like experts from the infectious disease and the public health sectors. So they will analyze the data during this time in terms of how the virus is still spreading, as well as the overall situation before they actually decide whether to lift the restrictions for these prefectures.
So when the lifting of state of emergency has been in place, people from the prefecture in which lockdown still remain may want to travel to other prefecture. What's the measure or what's the government recommend people to do during this time?
What the government actually advised and recommended during this time is that they are still asking the residents to stay on alert and to adopt the new normal or the new lifestyle, as they call it, such as telecommuting and wearing masks. The government also continue to remind the public to maintain social distancing, avoid crowded areas, as well as to avoid traveling between areas that are still under the state of emergency and those that are not. So let's say if I live in this prefecture and if I want to travel to Tokyo, we're not allowed to do that yet.
Yeah. So it must be quite cautious measures still remain, like Thailand as well, Kun Thepchai, because we've been told time and again that we still have to remain cautious. We cannot let our guard down in fighting with the pandemic.
Yeah, it's a challenge that practically every government is now facing, trying to balance between saving lives and saving the economy. Of course, I mean, the Japanese government has certainly been under a lot of pressure from the business sector for the economy to be reopened. As in Thailand, I mean, tomorrow we know that the Prime Minister will make another decision on the second round of easing of the restrictions. So this is a challenge that practically every country is facing now.
What about the local people there, Kun Nat? Do you have information? How do people react? They must have felt relieved for lifting of the restrictions.
Well, it's certain for those who are living in the 39 prefectures because the restrictions are already lifted. So they felt relieved that they can finally go back to their normal lives. However, the problem is now are those for the people living in areas where the restrictions are still in place, as the state of emergency highly affects their business. Some people are actually becoming tired of complying with the government's request for people to avoid making non-essential outings during this time. So there are still a group of people who are frustrated with the state of emergency here.
Okay, all right. Thank you very much for this story. Thank you, Kun Nat.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
And Kun Thepchai, during the fight of COVID-19, we see another, well, should we say, uplifting from Ghana. Pallbearer groups, they have Coffin Dance. The dance is quite well known from 2017, but during COVID-19 in particular, they use this style of reminding people how they should keep social distancing. So let's take a look of the Coffin Dance from Ghana.
Hello everyone. We in Untitled Chapter want to thank all the doctors in the world who are working hard and taking care of everyone. But remember, stay at home or dance with us.
That's the Coffin Dance from Ghana. It's originated many years ago, but right now in particular it has been adapted in many countries, Kun Thepchai.
Yes, and one of the dances certainly was designed to be a dance of thanks to medical personnel who have been involved in the fight against the coronavirus in practically every country.
Yes, and in other countries they use this kind of dance as the sign of protest. For example, in Lebanon, they use Coffin Dance to protest against the economic situation over there. In Beirut, men dress as the pallbearer march a mock coffin decorated to protest against the Libra. And also in Peru as well, police dress in riot gear as what we saw on the screen. So that's the way how Coffin Dance has been known all around the world right now at this juncture of COVID-19.
Yeah. I think every country, people in every country have their own ways of adapting the situation to make sure that they reflect the conditions they're facing in the way that would certainly has a respect to the dead, and also meant to show that the appreciation for those who are involved in the so-called front line in the battle against the pandemic.
Yes, and people around the world have different ways to say thank you to medical personnel who has been fighting front line. And we are now We are now waiting to reach out to Dr. Sutapa Amornvivat to discuss future after post-COVID-19. คุณเทพชัย it's our intention because if you've been following the content of our program, especially recently, we try to focus on what's the future will be like in every aspect after COVID-19. Because as we see, the normalcy, as we know it, has been gone, and we need to adjust to the world of new normal in many aspects of our life.
Yeah. I think we have been talking a lot about the infections, about how people are suffering from the pandemic. But so now we think that it's about time that we started looking forward and to see how things will be, how our life will be like in the so-called post-COVID-19 situation. And which I think very important because we believe that every sector of the society must be prepared for those days, right, when things are returned to normality. And so that's why in the past few weeks, in fact, that we have been talking to people representing various sectors to listen to their perspectives and their views on how they are adapting and how they believe that they should be prepared for things that lie ahead.
Yes, and right now we can connect to Dr. Sutapa Amornvivat. So we will discuss on the future after post-COVID-19. Welcome, Dr. Sutapa Amornvivat, founding CEO of SCB ABACUS. Thank you very much for joining us. สวัสดีค่ะ
สวัสดีครับ
สวัสดีค่ะ
สวัสดีครับ
สวัสดีค่ะ
สวัสดีครับ
Thank you very much
Good evening
for having me.
Have you been working from home in the past 2 months?
I have. In fact, we call 100% working from home since the beginning of March. So it has been more than 2 months.
I see. But is it more effective? Not having to spend your time on the road and get stuck in traffic jams.
I have to admit, it was very effective until my kids start to study from home, and then I need to adjust everything over again. But overall, I think there are the parts that we can become much more effective, meaning that I have been able to attend a lot more meetings, and there's no sort of physical limitations of moving between meetings. So in a way, I get to observe the dynamics and the work of the team much more seamlessly and much more effectively throughout. Also, it really highlights how we should work, particularly in a meeting arrangement to make it much more effective, meaning that we have to be much more prepared. There will be a daily briefing every day, and then everyone has to prepare what they want to brief less than 15 minutes every morning, for example. So that's requires some discipline. The part that's not so effective, probably through collaborative work, when we want to discuss something new or something creative, that would still require an equipment or a software that facilitate that, and has not been in the market yet.
Yeah. And Dr. Sutapa, perhaps you can share with us a little bit of the project that you just initiated during COVID-19, sharing project through application to help people who have difficult situation during this time.
Right. Well, in fact, it's a small project that we work together with some of the staff in my company and also with other volunteers outside of the company. We call it a chatbot แบ่งปัน. You can add. It works on a line chatbot by adding BANGPUNN. The main idea is to become a platform where people who wants to donate can announce their donation on a platform, and people who are would require those donations, or people who know the people who would require those donations, would be able to search donation spots in the area. The idea is very simple. We use Line because it's being adopted easily by people with much less technology savviness, and also we now partner with a lot of other community restaurants where people who would want to do donations but don't have the time to cook, they can actually order food from those community restaurants and have it delivered to the nearby communities for donation.
So that's very...
Dr. Sutapa, go ahead, please.
Sorry, so that's very good aspect of using technology in improving people's situation, especially during this crisis. So from now on, how do you see the role of technology in our daily life, its implication in daily life, in social life? Will we have to adapt more and use technology more? What's your vision in the future of Thailand?
Well, I certainly feel that we have to adapt to the fast pace of technology even before COVID hit. But in some way, it escalates the adoption. And it has been escalated adoption by the state as much as by the concern for healthcare. Meaning that with the lockdown, a lot more companies will start to experiment, or in fact, they didn't have time to experiment. They have to adopt the technologies even before they felt ready. But this is without silver lining. As you can see, now employers realize that they can ask employees to work from home. They can even save office space, but also the people with physical disabilities that prevent them from commute daily now would have a chance because it has been proven possible that they can work from home and still be a good contributor to the workplace.
We all know, we all know how devastating this pandemic has been on the world, right? And it's unfortunate that many people have died and have become sick. But I'm sure that there must be some positive side to this pandemic. So, for you, what do you think is the most positive side to this outbreak?
Well, it's not yet over, and it's a very difficult question because it's as economists, we seem to gravitate towards the negative side of this devastating event that's unfold, and it's not the end of it. I doubt if we have seen the peak of the economic calamities that will be coming after that. But the one thing is very clear: these pandemics or any kind of crisis help highlight the problem or the loophole or an underlying issues that we could have solved before that, but we didn't have the time when the market is good to actually look closely at the efficiency of our operations. So this is the time to look back into all the steps that we could have improved and emerge from it. But when you talk about whether this pandemic will be different from other, the economic crisis will be different from other, it's really difficult to predict because if you look back at a lot of economic crises in modern history, in modern economics, they were not caused by widespread disease like that. Instead, it was physical or death crises. So this time is very different, and people are grapple to understand the impact because it's for the first time it hits nearly every country in the world all at once. And one thing that's for sure, we will come off of this crisis with heightened public debts, the level of which we had not experienced before. So for rich countries, for developed countries, low interest rate with deflation will persist for a long time afterwards, but it will be manageable. But it will not be the case for less developed countries. So, so public debts will weaken the ability for the countries to manage their own economy. Then we will obviously see the rising fiscal deficits. So austerity will not and cannot return for a long time, and then we will see tax rise in response. The scary part is the government will no longer honor the old social contract, especially in terms of the social safety net, and they will be discarded and new one will be forced in violently. This will test the strength and the trust between the governments, the regime, and its citizens. So these are some of the major economic outlook that we see from the public side. On the private side, though, we certainly will see the rising private debt and also a surge in default. That would definitely weaken the monetary policy instruments to help solve the problem after all these crises long after this crisis is over. And as you mentioned early on about the workforce, it will be under intense pressure as unemployment will remain high even after the pandemic. And this decline in employment will be concentrated in labor incentive industries. The case in point is the hospitality business. Because it's being a prime example because it cannot be done from home. It's currently filled with the young, women, and immigrants. So these marginalized groups will become even further more vulnerable after this crisis.
So what do you like to recommend, especially for hospitality business in which women have to concentrate and work a lot in this sector? The government should do more to try to take care of workers in this sector?
If we look at the measures that the government has done so far, I know there's a lot of policy discussions being on the table, but if you look at what the government has done so far, it's not even the stimulus. It's just a stabilizer. They just want to put cash in the hands of those being affected. And this is done with brute force. It's have to be accessed easily with not a lot of conditions. Otherwise, very confusing, as we have seen the hiccups in the past month. But going forward, government would have to look at the employment scheme that help the companies solve the debt problem and also have a massive employment for public goods. If you look at the Pakistani government, we have heard that they, and I also applaud their effort in hiring thousands of laborers being affected, being out of job by the lockdown to plant trees. And we can adopt similar programs, so we can look at the technology as Thai language technology has a lot of public goods that is not there. And so we can do a lot of programs to hire people to crowdsourcing, and then it become public goods, and the government can open source for Thai developer to improve the AI industry.
Now, as far as you can see, do you think the government has plans ready to cope with the post-COVID-19 situation, especially in areas of dealing with the massive unemployment and the economy in general?
Sorry, I didn't quite hear the last part.
I think as far as you can see, do you think the government has plans ready to cope with the post-COVID-19 situation, especially in areas of unemployment and the economic problems that certainly will be very, very massive?
I honestly have not seen any government having that forget the measure ready. I don't think any government actually have a very clear idea of how much problem this may impact the economy. We are looking at the working number of -5% to -15% of GDP across many countries, rich and poor. So in some way, this situation is far from over. A lot of people start to reopen economy with expectation that it's going to be some surge of some kind of this epidemic, and more that we learn about this. More and more that we learn about this pandemic is going to be a better prediction for the government to plan the policy.
It's not quite uplifting to see the world after COVID-19.
Yeah.
It seems Thailand still has to adjust a lot. So what do you like to
We are
recommend?
not bad. We are not bad indeed. But I certainly feel that what we have seen today are a lot of assumptions. There are assumptions that antibody is immunity, but these are at best assumptions. They're not fact. It's not based on data. We believe that the smaller number of infected person will lead to a smooth opening up of economy. These are assumptions. We don't know whether it's true. We have not seen it to be the case even in the countries that had these pandemics before we did, like China or Korea. So everyone has to still be on vigilance. And even after vaccine has been predicted to come out next year or 2 years from now. So the prediction is still still very estimated.
I see. The whole thing, of course, is not yet over, but I'm sure that economists like yourself always look ahead. But so looking forward, do you foresee any areas in which you yourself and your organization will do things differently in the aftermath of the pandemic?
Oh, I see it. I think tech will change. The technology and also society will change in so many different ways after COVID. And we certainly see the pattern of work has been affected, has shifted permanently. Now employers realize that people can work away from office. Employees will also demand better work-life balance. And office are there for collaborative work only. So we're going to see a big shift from the demand 9 to 5, 5 days a week, schedule into something that's much different even after the vaccines emerge into the scene. The commuting pattern will change. Urbanizations will need to be redesigned. Structure of city will also change, be it the public space, public transportation, school and nightlife. That will return in a way that wasn't discussed or even considered previously. And we will see a new kind of inequality, which will be widened between those owning technology and those owning data, gaining much more market power. And then we'll see more traditional businesses that cannot adjust quickly enough, sort of fade into the background. Dr. Nathan mentioned earlier on that now that nearly everyone is forced online, either from work or from contract tracing application in order to resume economic activities, we'll see digital inequality rising. And consumer without digital literacy will be prone to identity theft and or abuse of private information. So when you ask, what kind of business is going to be in search, I think cybersecurity is going to be a big winner of the day. And I severely believe that as financial literacy, as important as digital literacy, letting people know their rights, having proper cyber hygiene is important. It's public goods and the government should provide it.
The issue of cyber hygiene is really crucial, Dr. Sutapa, especially at this juncture that the government has planned to launch Thailand Victory or Thai Chana application.
Right.
And the issue must be quite concerning in terms of big data and personal privacy. So what's your take on this issue and how should Thai people, or what should Thai people be aware of?
I think we have seen many different models outside of Thailand. Examples as in China, Taiwan, South Korea. They have launched an early version of these applications, but they are in some way very invasive. Singapore decided on a different path. They launched their Trace Together much early on, but the adoption has been quite low. So end of the day, these systems cannot be effective, and I would not discussing about Thai Chana or Mo Chana specifically, but let me discuss in general trend what we have observed. So these systems cannot be effective if people do not trust them. And people will only trust them if it protects their privacy. So I would say the minimal requirement would be that the data is not kept in some kind of centralized repository. It needs to be kept on device only. Only government health officials can access those data. All applications must get user consent, and also the second user consent when it's required to share COVID test result. And the data collection must be very minimal or minimized. And other use of data are explicitly banned, not for target advertising or for policing. And it's a very it can hit at the very fundamental of the design of this device. They have to understand that if they choose between control and collaboration, if they choose the first, they may not get any. But if they choose the latter, there's a good chance that they get both. So in a way, I do hope that when it comes out, it's also think about trust as the major key success factor.
No, but what we heard today from the authorities' concerns was more about the application itself, but less on the assurance that the people's privacy would be protected. I think that would certainly raise an issue of trust among the people on this application.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I think when they force people to use that in order to resume economic activity, they need to convince people.
Yeah.
That and you need to educate people. When you force people to only use Thai language as official language, they need to teach Thai in school. And in some way, I hope that they do realize that they are forcing a lot of people who've never been on digital platform to be on digital platform. And therefore, they need to teach digitization, they need to teach privacy rights, they need to teach the cyber hygiene, etiquette on social media, on digital platform. And this needs to be done alongside the adoption of these technologies, not after.
Yeah. But I ask you frankly, the next time you drop by your favorite beauty salon, would you feel comfortable using your mobile phone to scan the QR code in front of the premises?
I'm still waiting to visit my favorite beauty salon. It has been so long, I think I have forgotten about them. But I will be. As long as I know that the data collected from me will be kept for my best interest, it will be collected minimally, and it will be used only for the intended consented agreement for me.
But how do we know that the data won't be manipulated? How can ordinary people know?
That's why the education is very important. But I think the more important is they need to be explicit when writing down. There are many tiers of technologies that they can choose to make it much more secure and much more private. And for example, if the data is kept in the device and is can only revealed not through national ID, not through identity, but from the device number, for example. A lot of these a lot of identity can be protected. The civil rights can be protected much more. And I think it's the duty of those enforcing citizens to use it, to actually educate them of what's being collected, why it's being collected, who's get to use them, what's the governance structure.
Yeah, that's a lot of issues.
Transparency is very key.
Yeah. Okay, thank you very much for talking with us for English version, but please stay with us because we'll return to you and talk to you in Thai. ค่ะช่วงนี้ติดตามไทย PBS World Tonight ในภาคภาษาไทยนะคะเป็นช่วงเวลาที่เราจะต้องประเมินสถานการณ์โควิด -19 และอนาคตที่กำลังจะเกิดขึ้นหลายๆแง่มุมนะคะทั้งเรื่องของเศรษฐกิจการใช้ชีวิตเรื่องของเทคโนโลยีและช่วงนี้ดร.สุทธาภา อมรวิวัฒน์ผู้ก่อตั้งและประธานเจ้าหน้าที่บริหารบริษัท SCB ABACUS อยู่กับเราค่ะสวัสดีค่ะดร.สุทธาภาค่ะ
สวัสดีค่ะสวัสดีค่ะ
ค่ะทำงานที่บ้านมาต่อเนื่องเลยไหมคะช่วงโควิด -19 เนี่ยค่ะ
ทำมา2 เดือนกว่าแล้วค่ะก็รู้สึกว่า working harder from home ค่ะ
แสดงว่าประสิทธิภาพเยอะขึ้น
ประสิทธิภาพนี่แบ่งออกเป็น2 ส่วนนะคะคือประสิทธิภาพดีมากตอนที่ลูกๆยังไปโรงเรียนแล้วทำงาน from home นะคะอันนี้คือเต็มที่คิดว่าทำงานเกิน 100% แต่ว่าพอลูกอยู่บ้านก็ใช้เวลาช่วงหนึ่งในการ adjust ค่ะก็เป็นคุณแม่ด้วยรู้สึกเหมือนกับว่าทำงานประมาณ5 จ็อบทั้งที่มีลูกแค่2 คน
ที่สำคัญคือเวลามีใครติดต่อมาขอคุยด้วยขอประชุมด้วยไม่มีข้ออ้างเลยว่าไม่อยู่ไม่ว่างใช่ไหมครับ
ใช่ค่ะแล้วก็แต่จริงๆแล้วมันมีข้อดีของมันนะคะคือเดิมเนี่ยที่ทำงานเนี่ยเราให้เราดูเราในฐานะผู้บริหารเนี่ยเราก็จะแบ่งทีมออกมาเป็นอยู่ข้างใต้เราประมาณ 5-6 ทีมแต่ละทีมเขาก็จะไปมีกรุ๊ปมีตติ้งของเขาซึ่งถ้าอยู่ที่ทำงานเนี่ยเวลาเราเข้าเราก็จะเข้าได้ทีละทีมแล้วเวลาที่เราจะไปเข้าไปเนี่ยเราจะไปนั่งอยู่เงียบๆอยู่กลางห้องแล้วนั่งฟังอย่างเดียวก็จะดูแปลกๆนะคะเพราะฉะนั้นก็คือว่าการที่เราสามารถที่จะเข้าไปฟังจากสมมติว่าเราบอกว่าทุกทีมประชุมพร้อมกัน 9 โมงถึง 10 โมงก่อนหน้าที่จะประชุมทุกคนจะต้องเตรียมว่าจะพูดอะไรว่าวันนี้จะทำอะไรเมื่อวานทำอะไรติดปัญหาอะไรแล้วอยากที่จะได้อะไรในการแก้ปัญหาคือของพวกนี้ใช้วินัยค่อนข้างเยอะแต่ว่าพอมันเกิดขึ้นมาแล้วเนี่ยในฐานะผู้บริหารเนี่ยเราสามารถที่จะเข้าไปฟังแล้วก็เห็นไดนามิกของการประชุมเห็น leadership ของทีมโดยเฉพาะเจ้าหน้าที่ที่อาจจะไม่ใช่เป็น direct report ของเราได้ค่อนข้างดีมากค่ะก็จริงๆก็ appreciate มองว่าถ้าหลังจากโควิดอะไรเรียบร้อยแล้วก็คงไม่กลับไปทำ5 วันแล้ว
ไม่อยากเข้าออฟฟิศได้ซ้ำไปบางทีใช่ไหมครับ
คิดว่าเป็นทุกคนนะคะทั้งทีมมันไม่ใช่เฉพาะตัวก้อยคนเดียวค่ะ
ค่ะจริงๆก็ได้เห็นการทำงานที่ลดเวลาการเดินทางนะคะแล้วก็น่าจะบริหารจัดการอะไรได้ง่ายขึ้นค่ะแล้วใน
ปัญหาของการขอโทษค่ะ
เชิญค่ะเชิญดร.ก้อยค่ะ
คือที่ก้อยมองว่าปัญหาของการทำงาน from home เนี่ยคือมัน only effective เมื่อทุกคนทำงาน from home และการที่กลับไปที่ออฟฟิศเนี่ย only effective when ทุกคนอยู่ในออฟฟิศร่วมกันไม่ใช่ว่าเป็น staggered schedule ซึ่งอย่างเงี้ยมันจะทำให้ค่อนข้างยากก็เลยมองว่าจริงๆแล้วช่วงที่ยังมีความกังวลในเรื่องของโควิดเนี่ยจริงๆแล้วก็มองว่า work from home อาจจะเหมาะ effective กว่าแล้วก็อาจจะเก็บออฟฟิศไว้ในลักษณะของการที่เข้าไปประชุมแต่ว่าสิ่งหนึ่งที่ก็ชอบเกี่ยวกับเรื่องนี้ก็คือว่าก็มองว่าหลังจากนี้แล้วเนี่ยบริษัทโดยเฉพาะผู้บริหารเนี่ยเข้าใจแล้วว่าการทำงานจากบ้านนั้นเนี่ยสามารถทำให้มีประสิทธิภาพได้เพราะฉะนั้นเนี่ยก็จะเปิดประตูให้กับคนที่อาจจะมีปัญหาในเรื่องของการเดินทางอาจจะเป็นปัญหาในด้านความพิการทางกายปัญหาในเรื่องของภาระของครอบครัวหรือว่าแม้ปัญหาในเรื่องของ relocation เราอาจจะจ้างคนไทยเพื่อไปทำงานในLondon Office จ้างคนอังกฤษเข้ามาทำงานใน Bangkok Office ได้ง่ายๆมากยิ่งขึ้นแล้วโดยที่ไม่ต้อง require relocation
ครับคือทุกวันนี้เราทำงานจากบ้านด้วยความจำเป็นนะดร.ก้อยใช่ไหมครับแต่ว่าพอเราเรียนรู้จากสิ่งที่เกิดขึ้นตอนนี้เนี่ยมันจะต้องในอนาคตต้องออกแบบมาเพื่อรองรับให้การทำงานที่บ้านเนี่ยกลายเป็นเรื่องปกตินะครับใช่ไหม
ใช่ค่ะจริงค่ะ
มัน
ก็จะเริ่มมีมารยาททางการประชุมออนไลน์ที่จะตามมาซึ่งเดิมไม่เคยทราบ
ค่ะ
แต่จริงงานที่ดร.สุภาภาทำอยู่เนี่ยทางด้านปัญญาประดิษฐ์ใช่ไหม AI แล้วก็ Big Data ความจริงผลกระทบจาก Work from Home ก็ไม่น่ามีมากเท่าไหร่อยู่แล้วนะ
คือเราถือว่าเราค่อนข้างโชคดีค่ะเพราะเราเป็นบริษัทที่เพิ่งตั้งไม่นานประมาณ3 ปีนะคะแล้วก็ทุกคนก็ equip บนออนไลน์แต่ว่าวันที่เราตัดสินใจกันว่าเราจะทำงาน from home 100% เนี่ยตอนนั้นคือเมื่อต้นเดือนมีนาสถานการณ์ยังไม่ค่อยงวดเท่าไหร่เราก็มองว่าเดี๋ยวเราลอง experiment ดูก่อนเรา experiment ได้ อาทิตย์เดียวก็ประกาศปิดหมดทั้งประเทศนะคะก็เลยมองว่าระหว่างนั้นนะมันช่วยให้เราได้เลือกว่าอาจจะมีน้องบางคนในทีมงานที่บ้านเขาอาจจะไม่ได้มี Wi-Fi ที่เหมาะสมที่บ้านเขาไม่ได้มีลักษณะของการประชุมการสามารถที่จะห้องทำงานซึ่งสามารถทำงานได้อะไรอย่างเงี้ยค่ะเราก็ได้มีจังหวะในการแก้ปัญหาไปเรื่อยๆเพราะฉะนั้นเนี่ยการที่ปรับตัวเร็วเป็นสิ่งที่ค่อนข้างสำคัญสิ่งที่เรามองว่าค่อนข้างมีประโยชน์ก็คือว่าไม่ใช่แค่เฉพาะบริษัทขนาดเล็กอย่างก้อยแต่ว่าบริษัทที่ขนาดใหญ่เองเนี่ยก็โดนฟอร์สให้ปรับตัวในเรื่องนี้แล้วก็วันนี้เนี่ยก็พบว่าตัวเองทำอะไรได้ดีแล้วตัวเองทำอะไรยังไม่ได้ก็จะมีความเข้าใจในเรื่องนี้มากยิ่งขึ้นค่ะ
ในช่วงโควิด -19 เนี่ยนะคะช่วงนี้ก็คงจะมองกันเยอะถึงอนาคตของประเทศไทยของเด็กๆของระบบการศึกษาของเศรษฐกิจด้วยนะคะดร.ก้อยได้ประเมินสถานการณ์แล้วมองว่าจะไปในทิศทางไหนคะจะต้องอยู่กับเทคโนโลยีแล้วคนไทยเนี่ยจะปรับตัวทันมีอะไรที่รู้สึกว่าน่าห่วงอย่างไรคะ
คือก้อยมองว่าปัญหาที่น่าจะตามมาอย่างเห็นได้ชัดก็คือว่าในช่วงที่มีการล็อกดาวน์หรือมีช่วงในการมีเคอร์ฟิวหรือทำงาน from home โรงเรียนปิดเช่นนี้เนี่ยมันเกิดกลุ่มที่มีความเปราะบางค่อนข้างเยอะนะคะอย่างที่เราเห็นได้ชัดก็คือกลุ่มเด็กนักเรียนจะมีเด็กนักเรียนจำนวนมากที่ฐานะทางบ้านหรือว่าความเหมาะสมในสภาพการเป็นอยู่เนี่ยทำให้เขาไม่สามารถที่จะเรียนหนังสือได้ในช่วงที่ปิดอยู่นะคะถ้ามาดูในแง่ของตัวบริษัทเองเนี่ยก็จะมีบริษัทซึ่งแม้แต่บริษัทในลักษณะเดียวกันบริษัทที่equip ทางด้าน IT กับบริษัทที่ไม่ equip ทางด้าน IT ก็จะมีปัญหาในการทำงานที่แตกต่างกันทำให้สามารถที่จะเสิร์ฟลูกค้าแข่งขันได้ไม่เสมอภาคคราวนี้ลงมาดูด้านเซกเตอร์ซึ่งเป็นบางเซกเตอร์นั้นเป็นเซกเตอร์ซึ่งทำงานจากบ้านไม่ได้ไม่ว่าจะในแง่ของmanufacturing หรือว่าในแง่ของพวก hospitality กลุ่มพวกนี้เองเนี่ยก็จะเป็นกลุ่มซึ่งอาจจะกระทบกระเทือนระยะยาวแล้วก็ทำให้เกิดความเหลื่อมล้ำค่อนข้างมากความเหลื่อมล้ำอีกด้านหนึ่งที่คิดว่าค่อนข้างสำคัญคือเป็นความเหลื่อมล้ำทางด้านดิจิทัลนะคะจะมีคนจำนวนมากที่โดนฟอร์สให้เข้าสู่แพลตฟอร์มดิจิทัลโดยที่ยังไม่มีความพร้อมจะทำให้เขาเนี่ยอาจจะโดนเป็นเหยื่อของcyber security ได้ค่อนข้างมากโทษทีค่ะidentity theft อะไรอย่างนี้ต่างๆได้ค่อนข้างมากนะคะรวมไปทั้งความไม่เข้าใจอาจจะให้ข้อมูลของตัวเองไปโดยที่ยังไม่ทราบว่าถูกเอาไปใช้ทำอะไรได้บ้างในแง่ของบริษัทเองเนี่ยกลายเป็นว่าตอนนี้เนี่ย cyber security threat ที่สำคัญที่สุดของบริษัทคือผ่านลูกจ้างของตัวเองนะคะเพราะฉะนั้นก็คือว่าเรื่องนี้ก็จะเป็นเรื่องสำคัญค่อนข้างมากคราวนี้ในแง่ที่2ก็คือว่าในแง่ของโรงเรียนโทษทีค่ะในแง่ของโรงเรียนแล้วก็ในแง่ของการเปิดการกลับเข้าไปสู่การ reopen economy ตอนนี้เรามีการพูดค่อนข้างเยอะถึงเรื่องของ immunity passport เราจะได้ยินหลายประเทศได้พูดกันขึ้นมาว่าคนที่มีแอนติบอดีอยู่ในร่างกายนั้นเนี่ยน่าที่จะเชื่อว่ามีภูมิคุ้มกันซึ่งอันนี้เป็นแค่ความเชื่ออยู่นะคะยังไม่ได้มี scientific proven แต่ต่อให้มันสามารถที่จะ proven ทางข้อมูลแล้วก็ตามเราในฐานะสังคมหรือ as a society เนี่ยเราอาจจะต้องถามตัวเองว่าเราอยากจะมี two tier society หรือเปล่าหรือมีสังคมที่แบ่งคนออกเป็นระดับชั้นคือคนที่มี exposure to COVID-19 แล้วเลยมี antibody สามารถที่จะไปไหนมาไหนได้ตามสบายสามารถที่จะไปเรียนสามารถที่จะไปทำงานสามารถที่จะไปเที่ยวในขณะที่กลุ่มอีกคนหนึ่งต้องระวังตัวอยู่ที่บ้านเราอยากจะมี two tier society อย่างนั้นหรือเปล่าเวลาที่เราพูดถึงเรื่องสังคมที่มีความเหลื่อมล้ำกันขนาดนี้เราอยากจะให้มองถึงโรงเรียนเพราะว่าสำหรับประเทศไทยอย่างน้อยเนี่ยโรงเรียนคือ social equalizer เราเด็กทุกคนไปโรงเรียนไม่ว่าจะมาจากบ้านรวยหรือบ้านจนต้องต่อแถวรับอาหารเหมือนกันต้องมีเวรทำงานมีเวรทำความสะอาดห้องเรียนเหมือนกันนะคะแต่ว่าทันทีที่เราให้เขาเข้าใจว่าสังคมแบ่งออกเป็น2กลุ่มที่มี immunity กับกลุ่มที่ไม่มี immunity นั้นเนี่ยเราต้องถามตัวเองว่าเราอยากที่จะให้เด็กหรือเยาวชนของเราเนี่ยexpose หรือเขาเห็นของความเหลื่อมล้ำในลักษณะแบบนี้ตั้งแต่เริ่มที่อายุเท่าไหร่แล้วเรากำลังส่งสัญญาณอะไรออกไปค่ะ
คือถ้ามองในภาพที่ใหญ่ขึ้นนะคุณสุธาภาครับ ปกติแล้วไอ้วิกฤตแบบที่เกิดขึ้นตอนนี้มันจะเป็นตัวที่วัดความสามารถของคนที่บริหารประเทศใช่ไหมครับแล้วก็วัดความแข็งแกร่งของสังคมด้วยถ้าเราเปรียบเทียบไทยกับประเทศที่คุณสุธาภาติดตามอยู่เนี่ยเปรียบเทียบคิดว่าประเทศไทยเราจัดการกับสถานการณ์ได้ในระดับไหน
เมืองไทยเราเนี่ยมีความโชคดีหลายอย่างด้วยกันนะคะสิ่งที่สำคัญสุดคือระบบ health care ของเราเนี่ยมีการลงทุนเอาไว้ล่วงหน้าเยอะมากนะคะเราสามารถเข้าถึงระบบ health care ได้ค่อนข้างง่ายถ้าเราไปอยู่ในประเทศที่แม้แต่จะเป็นประเทศที่ develop กว่านี้นะคะประเทศที่รวยกว่านี้เนี่ยจริงๆแล้วการเข้าถึงระบบ health care ของเขาค่อนข้างลำบากต้องผ่านคุณหมอหลายระดับนายแพทย์หลายระดับจนกระทั่งกว่าจะไปถึงspecialize ซึ่งอันนี้ก็ช่วยเราค่อนข้างมากอันที่2ก็คือเรามีระบบอสม.ในชุมชนที่เข้มแข็งจะสังเกตว่าเรามีแพนเดมิกแบบนี้เนี่ยความเข้มแข็งขององค์กรส่วนท้องถิ่นช่วยให้การระบาดในต่างจังหวัดอยู่ในระดับที่ควบคุมได้ค่อนข้างดีมากนะคะแต่ว่าอย่างที่คุณเทพชัยพูดเมื่อสักครู่อะค่ะคือทุกครั้งถ้าเรามองกลับไปใน history ผ่านไป 400-500 ปีที่แล้วนะคะทุกครั้งที่มันมีแพนเดมิกขนาดใหญ่โรคระบาดขนาดใหญ่อย่างนี้สิ่งที่จะเกิดขึ้นมาสิ่งที่จะกระทบกระเทือนมากที่สุดไม่ใช่เศรษฐกิจสิ่งที่กระทบกระเทือนมากที่สุดคือการ shift of power คือจะมีการเปลี่ยนของโครงสร้างอำนาจการเปลี่ยนของโครงสร้างการเมืองอย่างรุนแรงเราจะสังเกตว่าตั้งแต่ Spanish flu นะคะตั้งแต่ plague ในสังคมยุโรปทำให้เกิดIndustrial Revolution ทำให้ชนชั้นกลางขึ้นมาได้เพราะว่าคนตายไปค่อนข้างมากนะคะอันนี้ก็เช่นเดียวกันแพนเดมิกครั้งนี้ที่เราเห็นในโรคระบาดตัวโควิด -19 ที่เราเห็นในครั้งนี้เนี่ยเริ่มจะเปิดให้เราเห็นถึงความไม่เชื่อใจกันที่มันมีอยู่แล้วแต่ว่ามันเห็นชัดขึ้นในความในการต่อสู้โควิดครั้งนี้ก็คือว่าเป็น mistrust ระหว่างประเทศนะคะ mistrust ระหว่างคน native population กับ immigrant นะคะรวมทั้ง mistrust ระหว่างรัฐบาลกับประชาชนว่าคุณกำลังพยายามที่จะเข้ามาตรวจสอบเขาโดยอ้างเรื่องของ public health หรือเปล่าอันนี้จริงๆแล้วเนี่ยมันเป็นการที่จะเทสว่าความเชื่อมั่นระหว่างกันและกัน leadership ของแต่ละรัฐบาลเป็นเรื่องที่สำคัญที่จะทำให้เราผ่านเรื่องนี้ไปได้ค่ะ
เทคโนโลยีจะเข้ามาช่วยแก้ปัญหาได้ไหมคะเรื่องของความไม่ไว้เนื้อเชื่อใจเนี่ยค่ะ
เทคโนโลยีจะทำให้ความไม่ไว้เนื้อเชื่อใจมากขึ้นค่ะเพราะว่ามันมีคนที่เข้าใจเทคโนโลยีและมีคนที่ไม่เข้าใจเทคโนโลยีและมีคนที่ไม่เข้าใจเทคโนโลยีแล้วกลัวเทคโนโลยีค่ะเพราะฉะนั้นก็คือว่าสิ่งที่สำคัญที่สุดก็คือว่าต้องปรับฐานความเข้าใจถ้ามีความเข้าใจมากขึ้นก็จะทำให้เกิดความร่วมมือค่ะแต่ว่าจริงๆแล้วถ้ามองกลับไปเนี่ยการเปลี่ยนแปลงในเชิงโครงสร้างของเศรษฐกิจเนี่ยที่อย่างมีนัยยะมันคงเกิดขึ้นในหลายๆเซกเตอร์นะคะอย่างที่เราเห็นพวกออนไลน์ช้อปปิ้งเนี่ยเดิมมันก็เปลี่ยนแปลงค่อนข้างมากอยู่แล้วมันก็คงจะเปลี่ยนแปลงมากขึ้นมากหลังจากที่คนเริ่มคุ้นเคยกับมันและทางออนไลน์ช้อปปิ้งเองก็มีข้อมูลมากเพียงพอที่จะเริ่มให้บริการที่ถูกใจประชาชนมากขึ้นนะคะอันนี้เนี่ยก็จะกระทบกระเทือนไปกันกับห้างร้านต่างๆไม่ว่าจะขนาดเล็กมาเป็นพับสโตร์หรือว่าเป็นพวกช้อปปิ้งเซ็นเตอร์ต่างๆนะคะต่อมาในเรื่องของการรีโมทเวิร์กิ่งเนี่ยก็แน่นอนทำให้การจ้างงานอาจจะเปลี่ยนโครงสร้างในการดูเรื่องการคอมมิวติ้งมากขึ้นdevice ในการที่จะให้คนสามารถที่จะทำงานจากบ้านได้ก็อาจจะทำให้ซิสเต็มเหล่านั้นได้รับการตอบรับมากขึ้นนะคะตอนนี้เนี่ยเราอาจจะเริ่มเห็นว่า AI หรือความสามารถทางข้อมูลที่เราเก็บมาตลอดมาเนี่ยสามารถที่จะแทนบางเซกเมนต์ของผู้ถูกจ้างได้เลยโดยเฉพาะอย่างในเรื่องของพวก retail service ต่างๆเพราะฉะนั้นเนี่ยความต้องการของพวก office building ก็จะอาจจะลงอย่างรวดเร็วอาจจะลงได้เร็วกว่า shopping mall ด้วยซ้ำไปนะคะแล้วก็ telemedicine ก็เริ่มpopular มากขึ้นเริ่มเป็นที่ยอมรับมากขึ้นนะคะทั้งนี้ทั้งนั้นเรื่องของกฎหมายต่างๆก็อาจจะต้องช่วยทำให้เรื่องนี้อยู่ในระดับที่ให้ความสะดวกประชาชนแต่ก็ยังควบคุมสถานการณ์ได้แต่ที่สำคัญที่สุดเลยซึ่งมันเป็นปัจจัยใหญ่ของประเทศเราก็คือในเรื่องของการท่องเที่ยวนะคะhospitality เกือบทั้งหมด travel tech เกือบทั้งหมดนะคะจะต้องtravel industry เกือบทั้งหมดคงจะต้องมีปัญหามันคงจะไม่กลับมาแม้แต่หลังจากมีวัคซีนแล้วโดยเฉพาะการเดินทางเพื่อธุรกิจนะคะการเดินทางเพื่อท่องเที่ยวคิดว่ายังไงคนคงยังเที่ยวอยู่นะคะแต่เดินทางเพื่อธุรกิจเนี่ยคงจะลดลงไปอย่างมากเพราะฉะนั้นช่วงหนึ่งที่เมืองไทยเราเรามองว่าเราจะเป็นศูนย์กลางของ MICE เป็นทำเป็นแหล่งที่เป็นดึงดูดเรื่องของคอนเฟรนซ์เรื่องของ exhibition ต่างๆก็อาจจะต้องมา rethink ในเรื่องนี้ว่าเราจะ handle กับพวก capacity ที่เรา build เอาไว้ในสถานการณ์แบบนี้อย่างไรนะคะรวมทั้งเทคโนโลยีอย่าง virtual reality augmented reality เนี่ยก็อาจจะทำให้การประชุมง่ายขึ้นที่จะไม่มีความจำเป็นอะไรที่จะต้องเดินทางไปด้วยตนเองก็ถ้าเราตามเรื่องนี้ทันต้องปรับตัวให้ได้อย่างรวดเร็วก็จะมีประโยชน์ค่ะ
น่าเสียดายนะคะได้รับทีมงานส่งสัญญาณว่าเวลาหมดแล้วจริงๆแล้วมีอีกหลายเรื่องที่อยากจะชวนดร.สุทธาภาคุยกันต่อนะคะถึงอนาคตประเทศไทยก็อาจจะต้องรบกวนใหม่สำหรับครั้งหน้านะคะ
ดีค่ะ
ค่ะ
ขอบคุณมากนะคะ
สำหรับคราวนี้ขอบพระคุณมากค่ะดูแลสุขภาพค่ะเอาละค่ะลาคุณผู้ชมไปเลยนะคะสำหรับไทย PBS World Tonight ค่ะคุณเทพชัยยองดิฉันณัฐฐา โกมลวาทินสวัสดีค่ะ
สวัสดีครับ
In times of crisis,
It's been a nightmare.
what you need is accurate,
COVID-19,
up-to-date, and in-depth information.
This virus will be with us for a long time.
And in this most challenging time, when the whole world is being ravaged by the most frightening pandemic, there is no easier way to stay informed than to stay home.
Hello everyone.
welcome to Thai PBS World Tonight
And stay with us. Thai PBS World. We bring Thailand to the world.